Welcome viewers, I'm in Islamabad with Kishwar Naheed. Kishwar Naheed does not need a great deal of introduction. She is a grand lady of many seasons. She is a philanthropist, a feminist, a writer, but above all, her renowned fame is in poetry. She is one of Pakistan's best poets. Kishwar, nice for you to give us the time.
Nice
Thank you so much. There's a saying by Robert Frost. Poetry is when an emotion has found its thoughts and the thought has found its words. Can you tell us about your emotion and where it comes from?
You see, emotions don't come directly. As a child, emotion comes directly. But when you grow in your age and when you see the whole world around you, and you see the people's torture, people's love, people's miseries, everything is blocked in you, like a computer registers, in the way the mind registers in it, and sometimes it blows out at night that you get up and find that you are in the mood of writing. And sometimes it is so that you are working on the computer and you stop computer and say that I am going to write. So this is a constant continuation of 55 years that I am in this writing business, and I feel myself relieved of emotion and tension when I write.
But does this, is this some sort of, I wouldn't go so far as to say, but is it a sort of divine sort of feeling? You know, is the channel open all the time, or the channel comes?
It's not open all the time.
Yes, I'd like to know how.
But when you don't write for a long time, then the words are not your companion. Then you have to await them and you to love them and to make them to come back to you. And then you start writing.
Yes, but where does it come from?
It comes from divine.
There you are.
Yeah, it comes from
So there you are. And I think particularly, maybe we'll have a chance to talk about your poems, but they truly come from your heart.
Yes.
What I wanted to find out is that emotion. Robert Frost says emotion, but where does the emotion come from? And I think
emotions. You are a sentimental a person is a sentimental person, and when you are a young woman or young man, then a bird also and a flower also can flatten you, and you can go on this. And then when you meet a man, then the meeting of a man is not mating the man. It's just emotional continuation of yourself.
yes.
And then you think of yourself, how it is so that you can balance out the man and yourself. How can you balance out the woman and yourself? And then if you are balanced out, then you have the continuity of dialogue, of feeling, of experiences, and that continues to come to the age when you come to the mature age.
Yes.
When you come to the mature age, then emotions are less and maturity is more.
So then experience begins to
Experience and maturity I always say people talk of maturity of age, but I also talk of maturity of love.
Maybe you also mean maturity of the soul.
I don't go up to soul because I don't believe in it. I'm not a religious person.
No, this is not a religious point, by the way.
Maybe,
It's a non-religious point.
But you see, it's as you I have described it as you have the flower and you
Yeah.
put it in the land to grow it back, and comes back again. So is the love. It goes out from you,
Wow.
and it comes back to you in the form of a love, of a flower. And when it is spring, this is the spring of your poetry.
Wow.
This is the spring of your emotions. And then you thought about it and you think, I am a person who was never like this, but somebody in my mind has dropped me some idea to be like it. And when I get up sometimes at night, there is a poor couplet on my tongue. And I say I was sleeping, and now it's happened. Recently I wrote a ghazal. It was अपनी बेचैरगी छुपाने को आईने को इधर उधर रखा. This was full couplet which I murmured when I was sleeping.
Do you want to translate that in English for
Oh God.
Angrezi viewers?
To hide yourself from what has happened to your face, you don't want to look at the mirror. You want to look from on the left side or the right side. Don't want to face your face.
Wow. So, can we do a flashback a little bit?
Of my life or my poetry?
Well, your life really, because
I am
I think emotions come and this training and these feelings come at a very young age, in my view.
I was
and I want to know from you, when did this all start?
I was a girl who in the Second World War was born. And my childhood does not indicate playing with dolls, but my childhood indicates when the Pakistan movement was there. And I was with my brothers. One was elder to me, the other was younger to me, and we were playing. This is called Gulli Danda.
Ah, yes, I've played that game.
And then immediately when the Julus will come, we will take the danda in our hand and say, "Ban ke rahega Pakistan," or "Ban ke rahega, mit ke rahega Hindustan," or just like this. So in my blood, the emotions have been about politics and all this. And when my mother was going to the processions of women about Muslim League, she was in burqa, and I was a little girl holding her hand and going to that meeting. So all this is in myself. And then when partition came,
when you were young, following your mother, what were your thoughts at that time? Because you realized that she was fighting. So she was standing up for women and so on.
She was fighting for education for us, because my grandpa was a magistrate, but he was a Sir Sayyid follower, who mean the men should go to Aligarh and the girls should stay home. So she was against that, and she put all our we are 4 sisters in school, and my grandpa said, "You will not come to my house." She said, "I'll not come, but I'll make my daughters educated."
So she is your powerhouse.
She's basic power is there, but there is always a reaction to action. When I passed and when my 2 elder sisters passed high school, I was also told to stay home. I refused to stay home, and I said, I am going to college. And that took me 3 months, because fighting with the people and going to hunger strike and everything.
You went on hunger strike?
At home.
At home, okay.
At home.
Okay, well, they saved some money that way. Okay, sorry.
And then my brother said, don't make so much drama.
Okay.
Come on, we will get you to college. And then my elder sister, who was 7 years elder to me, who has stopped in India in high school, she was also sent to college with me. And that is the system. Now after graduation, again came the full stop. They said, now you no more. I said, I'll go for law. I want to do law. After quite much struggle. Then they said, don't go for law. You have done special in economics, so go for economics.
Okay.
So I did my master's in economics. So that after doing my master's, during my master's, my class fellow was my husband, and the family thought that we are in love. We were just class fellows,
okay.
And they just refused to accept us, that we are not, and we were all socialist. We were saying we are studying, and then we'll complete education, and then we'll join the jobs, and when we start earning, then we'll get married. They said, nothing happens like this in our family, because we are Sayyid family. So what happens? They said, we will call the Maulvi just now, the boy, sit down together, get married, get out.
Good idea. No?
Not a good idea.
No, you didn't.
Not a good idea, because I was just 19 years old.
Oh dear.
And we were in the final year, and what to do and where to go. But anyway, all this is a very story of not any going to fancy things,
no.
But very troubled thing. But the only exception and thing was my husband was with me, and we both studied, completed our masters, we joined the job, and we started, and friends were there, and elders were friends. The elder writers like Sufi Tabassum, Faiz Ahmad Faiz, all these pieces, Abid Ali Abid, Ahsan Danish, all these people were my, not friends,
they were
but my seniors.
Your seniors.
They are my seniors. Okay. And they protected me like anything. And they, when we started living life, though, they all started coming to our home, and there's somebody bringing salan, and somebody bringing bread, and some all that, and then sitting together.
So was your talent becoming apparent at that time? Were you writing?
Yes. In my first year, I was told, and in all colleges, there is intercollegiate mushaira, and intercollegiate debate.
Okay.
I was asked by my teacher that you remember so many couplets and so much poetry. Why don't you try to write something? And I used to study at night. Why? Because an early night, everybody was arrived. I couldn't study the novels and the fiction and the poetry. So at night, when I used to get up at 1 o'clock, I could study all these things along with my syllabus. So I wrote one poem, and it was quite long. So I couldn't believe myself. My sister didn't know. I went to the mushaira and I got first prize over that. I couldn't believe myself. Then I started, because I was reading all the time, because we were not allowed to talk to our cousins, we were not allowed to be intimate with our brothers, very strict family. So what was remaining? Only the books. Earlier I read Quran, and then I read Namaz and everything, and Tahajjud, and then I started reading books. And when there was no book, then I was reading even dictionary.
My goodness.
Because I must get words in my...
So you had this insatiable appetite, eh?
Yes, that is it. Still insatiable.
And still insatiable.
Still insatiable.
Now tell me, you then became to champion women's rights and women's freedom and so on. When did all that happen, and how did it happen?
You see, it happened in me from the very beginning. Since 60, when I was writing poetry, it was like this. But getting it worse and getting very stronger was in Ziaul Haq time, when we made rape ordinance, against the rape ordinance. We made processions, and we said we don't want to get the women in the jail, because any woman who was in, they blame, she has been raped, she was thrown in the jail, and not the man.
So it was just, she had to prove she was innocent.
Yes, she has, and family was not ready to prove it. So we made groups of women and lawyers, and Asma Jahangir was with us, and Izzaz Ahsan were with us, and we made groups to go over there, and then we started processions and also meetings, and also calling the scholars for religious scholars also
to validate what you're saying.
Saying that why not? Why women should be like this should be there. So this is the beginning of that era that all women of Pakistan came out, and they start even villages women, even the farmers women, even the brick making women, clean women, they came with us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that is the thing that we started. And I was made to write poetry every time. Recite poetry, recite poetry, recite poetry. But the woman within me
Yeah.
who was tortured from the beginning, who was not allowed to come out in its specific way, in the way that she wanted to speak. I couldn't speak myself, but my poetry was speaking.
You know something about poetry? Sadly, it doesn't get to everybody because you have to have that feeling to want to read the poetry and want to read what it's about. And it's not within everybody's capacity,
No.
which is in a way the beauty of poetry, but equally is a handicap of poetry, that it cannot reach everybody because it's not simple enough. And particularly in this country where people are not so articulate. How do you feel about that? I wish everybody could read your poetry and everybody could understand it, but sadly no.
You see, things are different. When women read and young boys like him read, they do come to me and they say, "You are reflecting our emotions. You are reflecting our feelings, because we also feel like this, but we don't write poetry. You write poetry." And then in this book, The Bad Woman's Story,
Yeah.
this book has been published 19 editions in Urdu,
Yeah.
because this book was written in 1993, and it has gone to every village, nook and corner
Yeah.
of Pakistan, and also in India. It is published in Urdu, in Hindi also.
Very nice.
Is the part of syllabus in Delhi University and JNU. So I said, "Why have you made this part of syllabus?" They said, "Because our women writers do not write like you, and you have written emotions of what all the Indian women." So that is like it is in part of in syllabus.
Do you know, I hadn't researched you very much, but when I saw A Bad Woman's Story and then your very famous poem about we sinful women, for a moment I thought it was something to do with 50 Shades of something or the other. but clearly it's actually just the opposite, perhaps, in a way. But I think
Why it is we sinful women? Because we brought out a procession against this in 12th February 1983, and we were beaten like anything. Half of us were beaten and taken to the hospital.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. And half of us were taken to the jail. So next morning we were brought back at 1 o'clock in the morning, and those who were in the hospital,
Yes.
We were beaten like anything by lathi charge and everything. So next morning in the newspaper, small news was women were lathi charged. It was not why they were lathi charged. And this big news was by Maulvis saying the women who were in this procession, their nikah is finished.
Oh, they mean they are divorced.
They are
effectively.
divorced because they have done unreligious thing.
Like what?
Like this, that we sinful women.
My
There comes the we
goodness.
sinful woman. On that occasion, Bar Council had a meeting and asked me to read a poem, and then I wrote this poem. And now this poem is called the National Anthem of Women of Pakistan.
Yes, indeed, yes. Now, tell me, have you, I mean, how do you perceive the rights and freedom of women now, today in Pakistan, where things may well have changed, the political regime has changed. Is there still work to do on your part?
You see, the political parties have made 17% seats for women in National Assembly,
Yeah.
and 21% seats for women in provincial assemblies.
Okay.
But they pick and choose. They don't do the political service to them. They are not politically authenticated, and they are not politically specialized in that way.
Yeah.
So they don't have the knowledge and capacity and also confidence to speak in an assembly where there are so many men, and also knowing the law about which they are speaking. So there are many courses which are being held for them.
Okay.
But they are still not that mature as they should have been. So they need perpetuating.
So they need positive discrimination just to get them up to speed a little
Yes,
bit.
that is
and
it.
not be intimidated by such a minority
Yeah, yes,
position.
that's it.
And what about the stories I hear or we hear outside in the UK and so on about women still being treated really badly in the rural communities.
Still.
And the sadness and true sadness of torture and particularly when somebody commits or is accused of committing adultery or something like that.
Honor killing is so easy.
Killing, yes.
You see, 2 years ago, 7 women, alive women, were brought under a grave
Yes.
in Jafarabad just because they wanted to choose man of their choice. And this story was big, and the minister was thrown out of the cabinet and all that,
Yes.
and so much row was there. And then for the person, Mukhtar Amai case, she was nakedly taken out in the village just in revenge to it that her brother has, small brother,
Yeah.
has touched somebody else, sister or somebody. So revenge and acting like a brutal man, still a village psyche, because feudals are there. And feudals and landlords and feudal lords, their thinking is women are like slaves. They have to treat them like that.
Because
And
it suits them.
Yes, they are so gruesome.
So what is there to be done? Because there's too much work to be done there, to be quite honest. I mean, really it
You
is.
see, we are trying to bring the television centers and also
Yes.
dramas on that level, that they should educate to the people.
Yes.
They should educate only masses. Also, the groups are there who go in the masses and perform over there in the
Yes.
circle, and that is there. And also, when I go to the villages
Yeah.
to teach women how to work independently and how get themselves away from middlemen, then I talk to them and I ask them what are your problems, and then they start talking like anything. Every problem they'll tell them, how the husband treat, how how she has been raped by the father of the husband, and how she is trying to get off from him, and everything like this. So still many problems.
But not only that, but the woman's own family members seem to inflict cruelty,
Yes.
which I find just unbelievable.
But
actually.
one thing is there.
Yes.
The girls have now the courage
To stand up.
to stand up and say, this my father or this my brother has tried to rape me.
Yes.
That is, come to the court,
So at least-
come to the police station and say like this.
And the police work. The
now,
system now
now,
is beginning to
now
change.
after for the last 2 years, after otherwise they were putting women straight
Yes.
in the jail.
Any other movements that you would suggest? Any other changes maybe changes in the law?
Problem that I am doing, facing, and that
Yeah.
is that I want to, that you also
Yes.
get with us, is
Yeah.
that economic empowerment of women, besides education, is the need. Because as long as she'll say, give me some money, she'll be slave of the husband also. As long as she starts earning herself and spending it, this is the empowerment that she should get. And she should know she is not to spend on makeup, she is not to spend on dresses,
Yes.
she should spend on the education of the family, girl child, talking to them, being near to them, and then that is the way the family could grow. There are so many things that husbands do not allow women to go out. So we make husbands also be part of it. Be part of
Yes.
it. You are also part of the family. So you take up outside business, and we take up inside. Your women will take up inside business. They get happy that they are being given importance, and that is our purpose.
So really, I think to get economic empowerment, I think women need to be educated, and they need to be, or have some skills, or have some crafts. I think that's really is the beginning of the change.
You see,
without
two-way beginning.
And I agree with you, by the way. Psychologically, the economic freedom has huge effect. I know, difficult to. but that
Very
is
nice.
is a game changer.
Yes, that's
it's a
it.
game changer.
And then I tell them, never question your husband how much you earn. never tell how much you earn.
Yes.
That is the cheating that you have to do, because you have to make yourself safe.
Yes.
If you tell how much you earn, he might be earning less, then he will be psychologically underdued. So don't subdue him.
I noticed that, I'm sorry, your interview, but I'll just interject. I noticed that in Burma, Myanmar, for example, where men and women at every stage work side by side. Work side by side in the field, side by side in schools and in offices. And then you see that mutual respect with each other. They don't look at each other as men and women. They look at each other as human beings.
They have to be partners.
Yes, and then suddenly there's a change in the way the whole system works. It is remarkable. So I agree with you. Kishwar, I want to ask you, do you believe in destiny?
I don't believe in destiny, but I believe in this, that I must continue, or everybody should continue to work and hard work, and there comes not the failure, but your success.
So you're saying that every human being should fulfill their potential. Is that really what you're saying?
It has to be revealed on you. You see, I didn't know what were points in me, and slowly, now I'm in the old age. I know what are the drawbacks of old age and what are the good points of old age. I am being respected by everybody down in the street, like anything. This is my age, which is reflecting, and which my labor of work, which is reflected on them also. They know how much work she does.
And also your wisdom, dare I say.
That's also,
of course.
That's also there.
So do you think you are on your way to fulfilling your own destiny?
There is never a fulfillment. As I write one poem and I think it's very good, this is best. But next moment I'm ready to write another one. Because I think, no, there's another way to go ahead. I must go ahead. And I must open another window. Because the more windows you open for your work, the more work it is there, the more idioms are there, the more scene is there, and the more love is there.
Robert Browning said, God is the perfect poet. What do you think?
God has created us.
Yes.
He is really perfect, because you see, even I remind you one line of wife of Robert Browning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She wrote in one poem, one line, when he touched me, I was full.
Oh.
What a line.
Oh.
And I tried to translate it. I couldn't translate it.
Because
it's such a beautiful.
It's so small yet so big.
So big. So this is the way that the poetry should be there, where you should feel that, oh, it was in me. Oh, I could write like this. Oh, I could think like this. But I couldn't do it.
I'll do a great deal of injustice to you by reading your poem, a part of it, in English.
Very nice.
It is from Sinful Woman. It is we sinful women who find tongues which could speak have been severed. That's so strong.
ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं जो कि जिनकी जिस्मों की फसल बेचें, जो लोग वो सरफराज ठहरे, नियाबतें इम्तियाज ठहरे, मुदावरे एहसास ठहरे.
Tell us more. What?
ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं कि सच का परचम उठा के निकले तो झूठ से इशाराएं अटी मिले हैं. जो बोल सकती थी वो जुबानें जो बोल सकती थी वो जुबानें कटी मिले हैं. हर एक दहलीज पे सजाओं की दास्तानें रखी मिले हैं.
How much injustice.
हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं कि अब ताक़ुब में रात भी आए तो ये आंखें नहीं बुझेंगी. कि अब जो दीवार गिर चुकी है इसे उठाने की जिद न करना.
Now, surely these are all words which are divine almost, the way you say them. You're on a roll. I was also reading The Grass Is Really Like Me, which is light but so deep. Huh? I didn't realize that. Do you want to say something about that?
You see, in 1985 when there was International Women's Day and UN was celebrating it, on the backdrop what they have arranged, this poem was also written.
But it's got a feel, a summary feel, yet it's got so much depth in it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It's so simple.
And it's so simple, yet it's so beautiful. I like but they are merely straw, not grass.
Yeah,
The
grass
grass
is
is
like
really
me.
like me.
Yes.
Just say a little bit more. Just explain that to people, you know.
I can't explain every poem
No,
because
no.
it comes sometimes from the beginning. It comes sometimes from one line. It comes line from the one drop. Well, it comes some line sometimes by seeing something. So you see when in Urdu it say कि पैरों तले मसलना.
Ah,
So I thought of it that grass is also subdued like
yet
this.
the straw is
Yes. Yes.
talking to myself. Oh, this gives me goosebumps, really. Punish me, for then the sentence of your punishment will end.
You see, punishment. This
I know.
actually was written for Bhutto Saab's death when he was hanged. On
Okay.
that night, I had written this poem
And
because it
where
was
we-
a very terrible night
Hmm.
for all of us. We couldn't sleep that night because we knew he's being hanged. In the morning, I was crying and I was writing. I was crying and I was writing this poem.
Do you know, I remember that night too.
You remember
I
too.
remember it too. But I think I didn't understand the significance at that time.
That's it.
But you felt it.
You see, when we came to know that he was hanged at 2 in the morning, his body was taken to Ladkana, his home house, Gadi Khuda Bakhsh, and on every house, very small houses are there in the Gadi Khuda Bakhsh. There were 2 policemen on each house roof that nobody should dare to come out. And even Begum Bhutto, the first woman,
Yes.
Amir Begum,
Yes.
was allowed for 2 minutes to come in, and she said, "तुम पीछे कमर करके खड़े हो, मैं पापड़ता औरत हूँ." Then she came inside and saw Bhutto Saab's body. That's all.
Heartbreaking.
And then Bhutto Saab wrote the book, If I'm Assassinated. So
Yeah,
the continuation
yeah.
goes.
So what is your new mission? Just so that we wind up, tell me about the next 20 years.
You see, no,
30
not
years.
make me no so long. I don't want to have long age. It's already there. As Maya Angelou wrote, when I sit on my chair, don't ask me to get up with your hand. I'll get up myself.
I think that's a bit vain, but anyway.
That's it. So these days I'm writing a book. There are synopses of my life in that way, that writers, artists, dancers, musicians who have been in my life.
Oh, so slightly different, lighter
Different.
style.
3 or 4 page article about each one, but reflecting what a relationship he had or she had with the society, with families, and with all the writers being together.
Wow.
Because that stage has gone where writers, artists, musicians all were sitting together. Somebody's reading poetry, somebody's saying musician,
Yeah.
somebody's painting.
Yes.
It was such a lovely life that we had up to 1977, till Bhutto Saab was taken off. And when Ziaul came, since then the whole culture distorted, not only finished, distorted in Pakistan.
Kishwar Naheed, what a pleasure. And you are a most amazing lady.
No,
and
it's what a
your
pleasure to
thoughts-
talk to you.
What a thoughts. What beautiful thoughts and great divine poetry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, viewers, for watching. I'm sure you'll agree it was most enlightening, most refreshing, and truly happy. Thank you.
ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं जो अहले जुब्बा की तमकनत से न रोब खाएं, न जान बेचें, न सर झुकाएं, न हाथ जोड़ें। ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं कि जिनके जिस्मों की फसल बेचें जो लोग वो सरफराज ठहरें, नियाबत इम्तियाज ठहरें, खुदा बरे अहले सास ठहरें। ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं कि सच का परचम उठा के निकलें तो झूठ से इशाराएं अटी मिले हैं। जो बोल सकती थी वो जुबानें कटी मिले हैं। हर एक दहलीज पे सजाओं की दास्तानें रखी मिले हैं। ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं कि अब ताक़ुब में रात भी आए तो ये आंखें नहीं बुझेंगी कि अब जो दीवार गिर चुकी है इसे उठाने की जिद न करना। ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं जो अहले जुब्बा की तमकनत से न रोक खाएं, न जान बेचें, न सर झुकाएं, न